90% of the guys in the gym don't see the results that they want to see. If you want to get the results that you want, it's vital that you understand the fundamental principles of each of the muscles that you're trying to train and really just understanding how they work. So this is going to be the first video in a series that goes over each of the major muscle groups for aesthetics. At the end of each video in the series, I promise you that you're going to be able to train each muscle group a lot more effectively because you're going to have a fundamental understanding about how each muscle works. So to do this, we're going to be covering the anatomy of each major muscle group, their function as it pertains to training in the gym, the top exercises for each muscle, and some practical advice for training that specific muscle group. So let's start off with Monday's favorite muscle group, chest. So to start off, what do the pecs actually do? The main function of your pecs when contracting is to move your upper arm across your body in what's called horizontal adduction. This is why movements like bench presses and flies, where your upper arms go from behind your torso to across and in front of your body, are used to train your chest. As lesser secondary functions, the pecs also contract to help raise your arms up and down, as well as twisting your arms inward in what is called internal rotation. So now that we know what the pecs primarily do, let's talk about the different parts of the pecs so that we know how to train them effectively and sculpt the chest that you want. So your chest has two heads or parts that both insert up onto your upper arm, kind of in your shoulder area. Although these two heads can be considered two different parts, they often work in tandem together whenever you do any sort of chest exercise. However, depending on the exercise that we choose, we can emphasize which part of the chest takes more of the load, therefore growing it more. The first bigger head, called the sternal head, attaches to your sternum and your upper ribs. When looking at these fibers, you can see that some travel from your arm straight across to your sternum and some slightly downwards towards your abdomen. This means that any movement that moves your arm straight across your body or at a slightward downward angle is going to hit this part of your pecs the most. So if you're looking for some of the most effective exercises at hitting this portion of the chest, try looking at flat bench presses, push-ups, and the pec deck to get those fibers that go straight across your torso, and exercises like dips with a slight forward lean, and some high to low flies for those downward sloping fibers. The second head, which I personally think is more important to understand when it comes to aesthetics, is called the upper chest. A little nerd fact, it's also called the clavicular portion because it attaches onto your collarbones, also known as your clavicles. When looking at the upper chest fibers, you may notice that they travel at an upward angles from your arm. This means when you're trying to target the upper chest, your arm not only needs to travel across your body, but also slightly upwards as well. Some of the best exercises for training your upper chest are incline presses anywhere from a 30 to 45 degree angle, whatever feels best for you, low to high cable flies, and decline push-ups. As mentioned previously, I think it's more important that people target their upper chest more so than the sternal head. So you may be asking yourself, isn't the sternal head a little bit bigger, so therefore it'd grow more muscle if you target it more? Honestly, I totally see the logic, but due to some scientific studies, that actually might not be true. Studies have found that exercises that target the upper chest also hit the bigger sternal portion almost just as well as exercises dedicated for that area, but not necessarily the other way around. Also, on an anecdotal personal note, I personally think anyone with a big developed upper chest totally sets themselves apart, as it's really hard to develop that area for most people, so if you really focus on it, it really can set you apart. And as you can see, I'm still working on it, but we'll get there eventually. Speaking of setting yourself apart from the pack, if that's something that you're really interested in, click on this video right here that outlines the 3 biggest mistakes that really will stop you from getting to the 1% physique